Part 1, the quantum awakening. Imagine, just for a moment, a universe far more mysterious than anything we experience in our everyday lives. A realm where the rules we once believed to be unbreakable no longer apply. A place where particles can exist in many states at once. Where the simple act of observing something can actually change what is being observed, and where particles separated by immense distances remain deeply connected, as if communicating instantaneously across the void. This is the hidden world of quantum physics, a domain that challenges our very understanding of what is real, what is possible, and how the universe truly works. In the video, How Quantum Physics Explains the Nature of Reality, Sleep, Inducing Science, we are gently guided into the core principles of this mind-expanding field. With a calm and measured tone, it reveals the subtle, intricate threads that weave the fabric of reality itself, from the nature of light to the very foundations of matter and energy. Our journey begins in the early 20th century, with a quiet revolution that changed everything. At its heart was a man named Max Planck, a German physicist whose insights would forever alter the course of science. Planck proposed something radical, that energy is not continuous, but rather comes in discrete pockets. He called these pockets quanta, and to describe them mathematically, he introduced a new universal constant, what we now call Planck's constant. This small but powerful number opened a doorway into the quantum world. Building on Planck's work, another great mind stepped forward, Albert Einstein. In 1905, he proposed an explanation for a puzzling phenomenon called the photoelectric effect. When light shines on a metal surface, it could cause electrons to be ejected, but only if the light has a high enough frequency. Classical physics could not explain this, but Einstein could. He suggested that light is not just a wave, but also a stream of particles later named photons. This discovery shattered the traditional view of light and introduced the concept of wave-particle duality, the idea that light, and eventually all matter, can behave as both a wave and a particle, depending on how it is measured. This duality is one of the most mysterious and beautiful aspects of quantum mechanics. Imagine a single electron, so small, so elusive, passing through two slits on a screen. If no one is watching, it behaves like a wave, creating an interference pattern. But if someone observes it, it behaves like a particle, choosing just one path. The act of observation itself changes the outcome. This is not just philosophical, it has been proven in countless experiments. In quantum mechanics, observation is not passive, it is a force, a participant in the unfolding of events. And then there is quantum entanglement, perhaps the most astonishing discovery of all. When two particles become entangled, they form a kind of bond that defies time and space. No matter how far apart they are, across a room, across a galaxy, a change in one is instantly reflected in the other. Albert Einstein famously called this spooky action at a distance, but it is very real. In laboratories around the world, entangled particles are being used to explore the frontiers of communication, encryption, and even the nature of consciousness itself. As we listen to the calm explanations in the video, the complexities of quantum theory begin to feel less foreign. The science, though profound, is not cold or mechanical. It is alive with mystery, with beauty, with a sense that we are standing at the edge of something vast, something eternal. The video does not seek to overwhelm us with technical detail. Instead, it guides us gently, like a quiet teacher, showing us how these ideas came to be and how they have shaped our understanding of the universe. We begin to see that reality is not a fixed, solid thing, but rather a flowing, shifting dance of energy and possibility. From Planck's discovery of energy quanta to Einstein, photon theory to the eerie wonders of entanglement, we come to understand that the quantum world is not just strong, it is foundational. It is the base upon which all of physical reality rests, and yet it remains veiled in mystery, like a dream we cannot quite remember, but know to be true. As the video continues, we are invited to reflect not just on the science, but on what it means for us as conscious beings. If particles can be in multiple states, if time and space can bend and stretch, if reality itself responds to observation, then what role do we play in the cosmos? Perhaps the quantum world is not just a scientific curiosity, but a mirror reflecting something deeper about who we are, about the power of awareness, about the interconnectedness of all things. In this quiet exploration, we find more than facts, we find wonder. And so as we drift into this first part of the quantum awakening, we begin to let go of the rigid boundaries of logic and step into a realm of infinite potential, where matter and energy, mind and mystery all blend together in a cosmic symphony of light and possibility. Part 2, the dance of possibility. As we move deeper into the world of quantum physics, we begin to sense something even more extraordinary, that the universe is not a machine operating on fixed gears, but a field of potential waiting to be shaped. What we once thought was solid and unchanging now reveals itself as flexible, uncertain, and deeply connected to the observer. This is not just about particles, it's about possibility. One of the most important principles in quantum mechanics is called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, named after the German physicist Werner Heisenberg. It tells us that we cannot simultaneously know both the position and the momentum of a particle with perfect accuracy. The more precisely we know where something is, the less we can know about how fast it's moving, and vice versa. This isn't a flaw in our instruments. It's not about limitations in technology. It's built into the very nature of reality. At the smallest scales, reality is fuzzy. It is undefined until we look at it, until we interact with it. Imagine that. Reality is not just waiting to be discovered, it is waiting to be defined, shaped by our interaction with it. This brings us to a profound realization that at the quantum level, possibility is more fundamental than certainty. The universe is not made of fixed things, but of waves of possibility collapsing into outcomes through interaction and observation. This leads us to the famous double-slit experiment, expanded even further. When scientists placed detectors at the slits to observe which path the particles took, the interference pattern disappeared. The particles acted like little bullets. But when the detectors were removed, the interference pattern returned, as if the particles knew whether they were being watched. This is not just a trick of light or equipment, it reveals a core truth, that conscious observation has a role in shaping reality. This idea has sparked both deep fascination and controversy. It invites us to ask, what is consciousness? Could it be more than just a byproduct of biology? Could it be a force in the universe, one that connects us to the very fabric of creation? Some scientists and philosophers suggest that consciousness may be woven into the quantum field itself, that the observer is not separate from the observed, but part of a single unified system. In this view, every choice we make, every focus of our awareness, sends ripples through the quantum field, influencing what becomes real. This is not science fiction. This is quantum possibility. The video gently encourages us to consider this with openness, not with fear or resistance. The purpose is not to provide all the answers, but to open a door, a quiet invitation to see the world and ourselves with new eyes. We are then introduced to superposition, another remarkable phenomenon. In quantum mechanics, a particle can exist in multiple states at the same time, a blend of all possibilities, until it is measured. This idea was famously illustrated in the thought experiment known as S.C.H.R. Higgins's cat. In this scenario, a cat is placed in a sealed box with a quantum, a breathwork, triggered device that could either kill it or leave it unharmed. Until someone opens the box, the cat is both alive and dead, a strange and poetic symbol of quantum ambiguity. Though the story sounds odd, even humorous, it reflects a real truth that before observation, reality exists in a state of uncertainty, a soup of probabilities. It is only when we interact, when we focus, when we observe, that the wave collapses and something specific becomes real. And so, the dance continues. Quantum mechanics teaches us that the world is not passive, it is participatory, that we are not merely observers of a separate universe, but co-creators within it. Our thoughts, our choices, our attention, these are not insignificant, they are part of the unfolding of the cosmos. It's a humbling thought. But it is also empowering, because if reality is shaped by observation, and if consciousness plays a role in collapsing the wave of potential, then each of us in our own quiet way holds a thread in the great tapestry of being. Each thought is a ripple, each action a note in the cosmic song. The video does not ask us to abandon reason. It does not tell us to throw away science. Instead, it shows us that science and mystery are not enemies. They are partners in a deeper understanding. The quantum world is not here to confuse us. It is here to awaken us, to remind us that the world is more fluid than we ever imagined, that we are more powerful than we've been led to believe, that underneath the surface of things there is a rhythm, a pulse, a dance, the dance of possibility. As we close this part of the journey, we are left not with conclusions, but with gentle, glowing questions that shimmer in the silence. What is the nature of reality? What is the role of mind in matter? And what might be possible if we truly understood how deeply we are connected to the universe? In the stillness between moments, we begin to feel the answer. And so we rest, not with certainty, but with wonder. Part 3, The Observer's Power. As we go further into the heart of quantum theory, one idea rises above the rest, quietly, yet profoundly, that the observer is not separate from the universe. The observer is part of it, entwined in its fabric, influencing it, co-creating it. In classical physics, we were taught that the universe is like a machine, cold, objective, and indifferent. It didn't care whether you looked at it or not. It just ticked along, cause and effect, motion and matter, predictable and solid. But in the quantum world, that model no longer works. Here the universe becomes responsive, interactive. It waits to be seen before it chooses its form. It holds infinite possibilities, all real, all potential, until one is brought into focus through the act of observation. This leads us to a deep and often unsettling truth. Reality depends on attention. Let's return to the double-slit experiment for a moment. A single particle, say an electron, can pass through two slits at once. It interferes with itself, behaving like a wave, but the moment we observe it, it picks one slit, it becomes a particle, it chooses a location. That single act of looking collapses the wave of possibility into one specific outcome. Why, how? No one fully knows. But what we do know is this: the presence of an observer changes the behavior of matter. It doesn't matter whether it's a conscious being or a measuring device. The outcome is not the same unless there is observation. This raises a powerful question. What is it about observing that holds such weight? Could it be that consciousness, not matter, is the fundamental force of the universe? That reality does not exist independently out there, but only comes into being through interaction with awareness. Some modern thinkers and scientists have started to explore this possibility. Philosophers of mind, quantum theorists, and spiritual seekers alike are beginning to converge on a radical idea that consciousness is not a product of the universe. The universe is a product of consciousness. Think about that for a moment. It means the world you see is not merely outside of you. It is entangled with your perception. It responds to your focus, your beliefs, your intentions. It means that, in some mysterious way, you are a participant in the unfolding of the cosmos. This is not a license for ego, but an invitation to responsibility. Because if your attention helps shape reality, then every thought, every choice, every moment of awareness matters more than you know. You are not small. You are not powerless. You are a witness with influence. The video brings this message gently, like a whisper in the dark. It does not claim to solve the mysteries, but it reminds us that the mysteries are not beyond us. They include us. As we reflect on this, we begin to notice something. The teachings of quantum physics are beginning to sound a lot like ancient wisdom. In many spiritual traditions, we are told that the external world is a reflection of the inner one, that our thoughts shape our lives, that awareness is the path to awakening. Could science and spirituality, once so distant, be speaking the same truth from different directions? Quantum physics suggests it as possible that the boundary between the observer and the observed is not as firm as we once believed, that perhaps there is no boundary at all. We begin to see ourselves not as isolated beings floating in an indifferent universe, but as threads in a vast, intelligent web of life, everything connected, everything responsive, and in this new light, reality becomes something more tender, more fluid. It becomes a relationship, a dance between what is and what we allow ourselves to see. So, how do we live with this knowledge? Do we fear it? Do we run from its implications? Or do we rise into it? Do we become more conscious of the way we think, the way we speak, the way we hold our attention? Do we begin to shape our lives with intention, knowing that we are not simply watching reality unfold, but helping to write it? This is the power of the observer, not to control the world, but to shape how it unfolds within their field of awareness, to choose presence over distraction, clarity over confusion, stillness over reaction. In this way, we become more than students of quantum mechanics. We become its expression, living proof that mystery and meaning are not found only in equations, but in the quiet choices we make every day. As this part of the journey draws to a close, we are left with a feeling not of conclusion, but of expansion. We are not finished. We are just beginning. The quantum awakening is not a single moment. It is a lifelong unfolding, a gentle peeling back of the veil between seen and unseen. And so, we pause to feel the weightlessness of possibility, to honor the quiet power of attention, to remember you are not watching life from a distance. You are life, you are the observer, and you are the one who chooses what becomes real. Part 4, Entanglement and Unity. If there is one concept in quantum physics that feels the most magical, the most deeply connected to our sense of wonder, it is entanglement. Quantum entanglement is the idea that two particles once connected remain linked, no matter how far apart they travel. What happens to one instantly affects the other, not through a signal, not through a force, but through something deeper, an invisible, mysterious connection that defies the limits of space and time. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. It puzzled him, challenged his beliefs, and shook the very foundation of classical physics. For decades, entanglement seemed like a strange mathematical curiosity. But as experiments advanced, scientists confirmed it again and again. It's real, it's measurable, and it changes everything. Because if two particles can be connected in this way, what else might be connected? Could you and I be entangled with the world around us, with each other, with the universe itself? The video gently guides us into this reflection. It shows us that entanglement is not only a scientific phenomenon, and it is a metaphor, a symbol of something we feel deep in our hearts, that we are not separate. We are not isolated islands of awareness, floating through a cold universe. We are strands of one great whole. What happens to one echoes in the other. What we do to the world, we do to ourselves. This is not poetry, it is physics. Imagine two particles created together in the same event. You send one to one side of the galaxy and the other to the opposite end. You measure one, and instantly the other responds, as if no distance exists between them. This challenges our sense of space. It challenges our idea of individuality. And more than that, it reveals something profound, that the universe is not made of separate parts. It is woven together, like threads in a single tapestry. Every thread matters. Every vibration ripples outward, touching the whole. In this light, we begin to see entanglement not just as a technical detail, but as a truth about life. When you speak a kind word, it matters. When you hold love in your heart, it resonates. When you feel fear, anger, or hope, that frequency doesn't just stay with you, it moves. It spreads, it touches others in ways you may never see, but that are very real. We begin to understand that our inner state is not private. It is part of a larger field, and this changes how we live, because now we see our thoughts matter, our presence matters. Our presence matters. Our energy is not locked inside us, it is shared, sent out like signals in the dark, received by those we may never meet, felt by the world in ways we may never fully understand. We are not just individuals. We are entangled beings, vibrating in harmony or dissonance with the world around us. This idea is echoed in many ancient teachings, in the wisdom of indigenous cultures, in Eastern philosophy, in spiritual practices across time. They all speak of a deep unity, a field of connection, a knowing that when one suffers, all suffer, and when one heals, all are touched by that healing. Quantum physics, in its own language, points to the same truth. It is humbling, isn't it, to realize that we cannot fully isolate ourselves from anything, not even the stars, that we are all part of a grand, living system, that every choice we make matters, not just for us, but for the whole. Entanglement invites us into a new kind of responsibility, not the heavy burden of control, but the gentle invitation to be conscious, to be kind, to be aware, to be in harmony with the energy we send and the energy we receive. The video invites us to rest here, not to solve the mystery, but to feel it, to lean into the soft edges of connection, to remember what we have forgotten, that beneath the labels, the roles, the boundaries, we are all connected, that what binds the particles also binds us. As this part closes, we feel a quiet shift in perspective. The world does not feel quite so distant, other people do not feel quite so separate. Even the stars themselves feel a little closer, as if their light is not just shining down, but shining through us. Entanglement is not just a scientific concept, it is a doorway into compassion, into unity, into a deeper way of being in the world. And as we walk through it, we are changed, not by force, not by doctrine, but by the simple truth that we were never alone. Part 5. The Quantum Self. We've traveled through the mysteries of quantum physics, the strange behaviors of particles, the power of the observer, the beautiful truth of entanglement. But now we arrive at perhaps the most personal realization of all, that we ourselves are quantum beings, not in some distant, abstract sense, but here, now, In our breath, our thoughts, our choices. At the core of who we are, we carry the signature of the quantum world: uncertainty, possibility, interconnection. You are not solid, fixed, or limited. You are a field of potential, changing, adapting, becoming, moment by moment. Just like an electron, you are not confined to one single identity. You are a wave of probabilities, a tapestry of experiences, emotions, memories, and dreams. You exist not as one thing, but as many possibilities, all coexisting until you choose which one to embody. What does that mean for your life? It means your past does not define your future. It means your current situation is not a fixed prison. It means transformation is always available if you learn how to collapse the right wave. This is not fantasy. This is quantum truth. Every time you think a new thought, you shift your field. Every time you focus your attention, you influence the outcome. Every time you act with intention, you reshape your personal reality. You are not just reacting to the world, you are participating in its creation. The video reminds us of this gently, like a quiet voice from within. You have more power than you've been taught. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a co-creator in the dance of reality. Let's take a moment to look at your daily life through the quantum lens. What if your emotions are not random, but energetic signatures? What if your beliefs act like tuning forks, drawing in experiences that match their frequency? What if the thoughts you entertain are not private, but vibrations that ripple outward? Would you be more mindful of the energy you carry? Quantum physics does not give us all the answers, but it gives us a new way to ask the questions, and more importantly, it gives us permission to step into the mystery, to stop pretending we know it all, to start honoring what we feel, what we sense, what we intuitively know, that consciousness matters, that presence matters, that we are all part of something larger, deeper, and far more intelligent than we can see. This leads us to the idea of the quantum self, a version of you that lives in alignment with this truth, a self that is not controlled by fear, habit, or external expectations, but guided by awareness, purpose, and presence. The quantum self doesn't chase outcomes. It listens, it aligns, it flows. It understands that the universe is not something to conquer, but something to collaborate with. And so, in each moment, the quantum self asks, what am I focusing on right now? What reality am I choosing with my thoughts? What energy am I radiating into the field? Because it knows that every small act of consciousness matters. Matters. The video encourages us to embody this way of being, not just to understand quantum physics, but to live it, to wake up each day knowing that we are more than we appear, that inside us lies a field of infinite outcomes, that who we are is not finished, it is always in motion, always evolving, always choosing the next moment. You are a quantum self. You are both the observer and the observed. You are both particle and wave. You are a paradox wrapped in skin, fragile, yet infinite. And once you begin to live from this truth, the world begins to respond differently, not because reality changes overnight, but because you do. You start to notice the synchronicities, you start to feel the connection, you start to trust that what you focus on truly does grow stronger, and in time you become the kind of person who doesn't just react to the world, you reshape it with grace. This is not magic. This is not science fiction. This is the edge of understanding where science leads soul and the mystery of existence becomes something you can feel in your bones. As this part of the journey ends, the question returns: what reality will you create now? Because you are the field, you are the frequency, you are the observer, and the choice is always yours. At 6, living the quantum way, we've wandered through the quantum world, a universe where the smallest particles dance with uncertainty, where observation shapes reality, and where collection transcends distance. But perhaps the most profound realization comes not from understanding the science, but from living it. What does it mean to live the quantum way? It means carrying this truth, this awareness, into your everyday life, not as a theory, but as a way of being, a new lens through which to see the world, yourself, and every moment you inhabit. The video doesn't ask us to memorize equations or study complex formulas. Instead, it gently invites us to practice presence. Because in the quantum world, the act of observation is sacred. What you pay attention to grows. What you believe shapes your experience. What you feel inside echoes into the outer world. So, living the quantum way begins with conscious awareness. When you wake up in the morning, what do you notice first? The heaviness, the noise, the to-do list, or the stillness in your breath, the light in your room, the quiet fact that you are here. That choice of attention is quantum. That small act of awareness is powerful. Throughout the day, each moment becomes a portal, a chance to shift your energy, your state, your reality. You're stuck in traffic, you're late, you feel tension rising, but you remember the world is a field. You are the observer. You get to choose how you respond. You take a breath, you soften, you shift the frequency from stress to peace, and without realizing it, you're collapsing a different wave. One of calm, one of ease, one that leads to different outcomes. This is not just mindset, it is the living application of quantum truth. When you walk through life with this level of awareness, something remarkable begins to happen. The world responds differently. Synchronicities appear. Ideas come at the perfect moment. People show up who mirror your inner transformation, and it's not coincidence. It's resonance. Just like tuning forks vibrate in harmony, when brought close together, your inner state draws in the frequencies that match it. That's why your energy is your greatest currency, not your money, not your resume, not your status, but your frequency, the invisible vibration you carry with you. Living the quantum way means honoring that. It means taking care of your mind, clearing out limiting beliefs, letting go of identities that no longer serve you. It means tending to your emotions, not suppressing them, but feeling them, learning from them, alchemizing them into wisdom. It means seeing others not as separate, but as reflections of you, fellow waves in the great sea of consciousness. This is where ancient wisdom and quantum science meet. In the lived truth that everything is connected and every action you take matters, even the smallest act, a kind word, a conscious breath, a loving thought, ripples out into the field, altering the course of reality in subtle but profound ways. The video reminds us, you don't have to fix the whole world. You don't have to understand every law of quantum mechanics. You just have to show up fully, honestly, consciously. One choice at a time, one breath at a time, one step at a time. Living the quantum way is a practice, not of control, but of alignment. It's the art of dancing with the field. It's trusting that life is not a machine, but a mirror, that what you radiate returns, that what you ask is heard, and most of all, that you are never alone. Because in this web of entangled energy, your light matters, your voice matters. Your presence, however small it may seem, is part of the whole. So when life feels heavy, when things don't go your way, when the future feels uncertain, return to the quantum truth. You are not fixed. You are not separate. You are not separate. You are a field of infinite possibility, always changing, always becoming. And the next version of you is just a shift away. Let go of the old story. Release the fear. Trust the unknown. Because beyond the limits of logic, beyond the borders of the visible world, there is something beautiful waiting. A life lived in alignment. A self guided by truth. a world transformed by conscious energy. This is the quantum way, and now the question is no longer what is reality, but rather what reality will you choose to create starting now. Part 7, returning to the mystery. After everything we've explored, particles and waves, the observer effect, quantum entanglement, the quantum self, we arrive at a quiet moment, a pause, a breath, a space beyond explanation. This is where we return, not to answers, but to the mystery. Because the deeper we go into the quantum world, the more we realize the greatest truths are not always meant to be solved. Some are meant to be lived. Some are meant to be felt. Some are meant to be honored, like sacred music echoing through the silence. In the video's final message, we are reminded that science and spirituality do not have to be separate, that the deeper quantum physics dives into the fabric of reality, the more it begins to echo the ancient teachings of mystics, sages, and seekers across time. Phrases like all is one, everything is connected. The outer reflects the inner, your thoughts create your reality. These are not just spiritual affirmations, they are quantum principles, spoken in the language of the heart, long before the equations came. We begin to see that the laboratory and the temple are not so different. Both seek truth, both bow to the unknown, both begin with wonder. So what do we do when we return to the mystery? We soften, we let go of the need to control, to fix, to figure it all out. We surrender to something greater, not as a defeat, but as an act of trust. We realize that we do not need all the answers to live a beautiful life. We only need to be present, aware, in tune. The greatest wisdom often arises in stillness, not in the noise of thought, but in the silence between. That quiet space is where inspiration is born. It's where intuition speaks. It's where alignment begins. This is what quantum physics points us to, not just formulas, but freedom. Freedom to stop being so certain. Freedom to be curious again. Freedom to admit, I don't know, and that's okay. In a world obsessed with control, the mystery becomes sacred again. And this is where something beautiful happens. We start to live in relationship with the unknown. Instead of fearing it, we open to the possibilities that exist just beyond what the eye can see, the synchronicities, the invisible connections, the quiet nudges from the universe. We stop asking life to give us proof first, and instead begin to live as if we are already part of something divine, because we are. We are stardust, dancing in human form. We are consciousness, having an experience of time. We are mystery, pretending to be solid, just for a while. And when you return to that knowing, even for a moment something shifts. You stop racing, you start listening, you stop seeking so desperately, and you start noticing the miracle of what's already here, the breath, the warmth of sunlight, the laugh of someone you love. The stillness inside you that asks for nothing, yet holds everything. This is what it means to return to the mystery. It is not an ending. It is a beginning. It is the space where new realities are born. So as this journey comes to a close, ask yourself, what will I choose to carry forward? What will I let go of? How will I show up now that I've remembered I am a wave of infinite potential? Because the most powerful truth of all is this: you were never separate, you were never broken, you were always connected, always part of the whole. The quantum field has always known you. And now, perhaps, you're beginning to know yourself, not as a name, not as a role, but as a presence, a field, a spark of possibility, lit from within. So return to the mystery, live gently, think clearly, feel deeply, act consciously, and trust that in this vast universe, every choice you make ripples out in ways you may never see, but that still shape the song of existence. Because you are not separate from the mystery, you are it. Conclusion, you are the quantum field. As we conclude this journey through the quantum world, we are left with more than just knowledge. We are left with a feeling, a quiet sense of awe, a deeper connection, a spark of something both ancient and new. We've explored the fabric of reality, where energy moves in waves, particles respond to attention, and everything, truly everything, is connected. We've seen how the observer is not separate from what is observed, and how your presence, your thoughts, your very awareness shapes the world around you. But this isn't just a scientific revelation. It's a spiritual remembering, because quantum truth is not separate from the truth within you. In fact, it confirms it, that you are not small, that you are not random, that you are a living expression of possibility. The mystery of the quantum field is not meant to be solved, but lived in the breath, in the choice, in the stillness, in every moment when you remember you are not just in the universe, you are the universe, aware of itself. So, what now? Now you carry this awareness with you, into your relationships, into your dreams, into your dreams, into your healing. You begin to observe with intention, to choose with clarity, to live with alignment, because now you know every thought creates ripples, every emotion vibrates into the field, and every act of love, every step taken in truth, shifts the whole. This is not theory, this is you, this is now, this is quantum. So go gently, go consciously, and above all, go knowing that you are never separate from the field you seek to understand. You are it, and that changes everything.